And if you look at Australia, where you've got, probably around half the ASX is either resources or banks, which are heavily exposed to resources, this is a really major issue if you're not taking this into consideration. And so Australian superannuation in particular is highly, highly exposed to fossil fuels.
Right.
And when you're talking that a lot of these funds have hundreds of billions of dollars under management, it's not like overnight you could decide, oh, hey, actually, we think the market's teetering a bit now. Let's take our money out. For some of these funds to divest, it might take anywhere between 5 and 10 years. And the fact that they haven't started that journey is I think, really alarming. And so that's our argument to the regulator. And of course, the other fund's argument to the regulator is we agree with this thesis, but we think we will be able to get out in time.
Oh, wow.
And so there's a lot of people, a lot of investors now are starting to move their money into ethical funds for that longer term financial reason. The fossil fuel market isn't going to drop overnight because suddenly demand is dropping. It's going to drop overnight because certain dynamics indicate to investors that this is the moment. And we don't know what those triggers are going to be, but we're seeing some of the big global funds now stating that they're going to divest from fossil fuels. And we probably only need a handful or more of big global funds to state that, and suddenly we're going to have to see movement in the Australian market. But at that point, Australia's super funds are going to be in the same situation as another 100 large global funds all trying to pull their money out of fossil fuels. And so, it's a really, I think it's a scary situation for Australia's retirement savings. And interestingly, there's actually a guy at the moment who's in the process of suing one of the industry funds.
Okay.
So he's suing his fund based on this argument, saying that you're legally required to invest my money for financial gain, and I think that there's solid enough evidence that by investing in fossil fuels you're exposing me to too much risk. So that's actually going through the courts, and if that case is won, it could have a really remarkable effect on the super industry.
What do you think is going to happen when all these funds wake up to that fact and try to get out of it at the same time? Is there going to be a massive spill-on effect into the superannuation world? Are people going to lose their savings overnight? Or
yeah, it's called the carbon bubble, a little bit like the tech bubble. So economists are calling it the carbon bubble. It's going to burst at some point.
Right.
Full stop.
Yep.
We don't know when.